I'm Catherine, I'm 36, I live in Euroa and I work here at Catherine the Jeweller. I think in order to attract young people, we need job security. If we can't offer them jobs in our region, we need to offer them great transport so they can get to other jobs.
My name is Malachi Wild. I'm 18 years of age. I live here in Euroa and I work at the high school as an integration aide. I really like the sense of community and the small town kind of vibe.
My name is Daniel Michael Egan. I am 43 years old. I live on the outskirts of Euroa, the suburbs. And I work as a barista in Albert's Cafe. We've got some great health services in Euroa and schools and so forth. I think we need to start focusing on an environmentally friendly industry infrastructure to ensure future jobs.
Yep.
Something, a bit more. It's very rural in this area, obviously, and there's a lot of farming and that sort of thing, but if we could build up, different kinds of industry in town to bring in the people and that sort of thing, I think that would help.
So my name's Edwina Thompson. I live in Longwood and I'm 31 and I'm 35 weeks pregnant, and so I'm growing a young person and I am an architect. I guess I love the slowness of living in a regional community, I think. I love and hate that there's a lack of urgency with things, but it does sort of give you the opportunity to sort of focus on things that you love and, things that you like to do and things like that.
I'm Dylan Chambers. I'm from Maypole. I'm 18 years old and I currently have casual positions as a waiter at the pubs. Community for me is a collective goal. Just going to one thing that everyone thinks is the right way to go.
Trent Howard from Euroa, 32, and I work as a network engineer. I love being right at the bottom of the Strathbogies. That was probably one of the things that attracted us to live here rather than anywhere else, is where the Strathbogies come down and then meet the flatlands going out towards Shepparton, and you get this really unique environment between the two, and it's just beautiful. Yeah, I think there's a couple things we can do to attract young people to the region. I think a bit of an art scene would be great, a bit of a broader art scene would be fantastic, and I think also doing some environmental conservation, that's all the rage at the moment. So bringing the bush that we love into town and making it part of what it is to live in Euroa.
The area could be improved drastically by more art funding or creative-based programs. I think the encouragement of critical thinking and creativity in our young people could never be underestimated. I would ask the Prime Minister what his legacy is going to be, and I would ask him to be a leader or a voice, not for big polluters, but for humanity. And for all of humanity, including refugees. He has a historical responsibility to act on climate change, and that he may be the last generation that can do so with any real impact.
It's difficult to get ahead. Cost of living is extremely high, even in a rural area. I look at my power bills and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to survive? But the cost of everything is increasing.
As the world is progressing to more of a gig economy and a lot more casual work is being offered than part-time and full-time, it's hard to see where sometimes I'm going to be able to save up, get a house, kind of settle down kind of thing. But I feel like that's why, especially amongst my friends, maintaining those friendships and relationships is all the more important.
It's a different kind of world we're living in compared to our predecessors. So as we're not going to have a job for lifetime. Most of us, we're generally going to have many jobs over our lifetime.
The thing that stands in the way of young people taking on leadership roles is the same as what it is for older people taking on leadership roles, and that is the fear and the vulnerable position that you put yourself in as a leader. But I think the difference is whether young people get the opportunity to be leaders compared to the older people.
Young people, they've got other things to do. and they might not be prepared to put in the kind of time that some things need, particularly when they're volunteer hours. That's really difficult. And if they're already underemployed or unemployed, that just makes it even more difficult.
No one wants to stand up and be vulnerable, because when you take that initiative, you got to put your whole person on the line, like on the line and in the line of fire, and people can either embrace you or absolutely tear you down. And in today's society, with the social media and like everything being recorded, everyone knowing everything, your personal identity and brand is very, I suppose, very important, and it's becoming more so important. Everyone knows everything about anyone, and they can find out anything. So it's scary to be the first one to like put your hand up and take that initiative to go forward.
In our community, there's very ingrained the older generation running the show, I find, and that kind of makes it hard for younger people to, get involved. They don't feel like they really can. We've got a lot of young families, which that takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, I think one of the big issues facing young people is money and time, of course. It's the ability to, it's obviously those two things, because at these point in our lives we're trying to pay down debt, we're trying to raise families, we're trying to build our careers, we're trying to do all things. But that doesn't mean that should stop us in our community work. I think probably the biggest, I know for us, is it's actually getting into these community groups. It's knowing they exist, it's knowing what they do. It's being, for some people, it's probably they're a bit afraid of, I wouldn't have anything to contribute when we've all got something to contribute. It's all those things. Weirdly enough, we live in the information age, yet we often don't know that these groups even exist, because you still got to go out and type for them and type and search for them. But if we can kind of get to the point where we're telling people about different groups and we create those connections between groups, that's such a powerful thing. And I think that's something we probably need to be a bit better at.
I got a pretty optimistic view about the future, as we are humans. We're very adaptable, can change to do anything. We've gotten here so far with all this technology we have these days. We can do anything, really.
As soon as you kind of get into a pessimistic mindset about it, like, that's game over. You can't do anything to change it then. So you just got to try and remain optimistic and always push forward, I guess. Yeah.
I think by virtue of my career and my interests in the creative field, that you have to be an optimist. By virtue of the work you do, you are constantly thinking critically and looking at problems and looking for solutions. And by doing that, you're hoping and you're being optimistic.